Somewhere in the back of this kitchen, there's an old recipe card for chocolate cookies. It was written years ago by an old chef at the end of their career. It says things like a good pinch of salt, bake until it looks done, mix until the dough feels right. It's vague, not exactly wrong, but not exactly easy to understand either. Now, the current chef in this kitchen has made that cookie 1,000 times. Every time, he tasted it, adjusted it, noticed the card was too vague here, a little off there, and after 1,000 tries, the chef doesn't even need the card anymore. They've built something better than the card, an intuitive feel for the cookie. Now you, the apprentice, want to learn to bake it too. You could use the old recipe card, or you could just learn from the chef. See, the chef doesn't show you a finished cookie and say, make this. They share their thought process and rationale. They'll tell you 80% sure it's dark chocolate, but there's a solid 20% chance milk chocolate works better. You write all of this down, not just the final answer, but the confidence behind it. And your cookies eventually end up almost as good as the chef's, faster in a much smaller kitchen. But here's what's strange. Where did the chef's feel for the cookie actually come from? The same old recipe. So you really didn't skip the shaky recipe, you just learned it secondhand through someone else's opinion of it. To translate it into the language people actually use for this, the recipe card is the data, the ground truth. The chef is the teacher model, you are the student's model. And what you get from the chef isn't a flat answer, it's a full spread of confidence. 80% dark chocolate, 20% milk, instead of just dark chocolate. That full spread is called a soft liberal. The flat version is a hard liberal. Training on the soft one instead of the hard one, that's knowledge distillation. There's an actual rule for this in information theory. It's called the Data Processing Inequality. It says once you put a mediator between a source and a learner, information can only get worse passing through the mediator, never better. Trace the chain with that rule in mind, from the recipe card, the chef's internal judgment, down to your training. That's precisely the kind of chain the rule describes. Which means, in theory, your best possible outcome is matching what the chef already knew, never beating it. Now push it further. Imagine the chef trains another cook exactly as skilled as they are. By that rule, the second cook should at best be a flawless photocopy. They should only ever replicate the first cook's limits, never outshine them. And yet, in real kitchens and in real neural networks, that's not what happens. A student trained by an equally matched teacher still measurably improves. So either the rule is wrong, or something about the truth in this story was never what we assumed it was. When you peel off all the layers, that ground truth you're taught to trust is usually one noisy sample of a distribution of reasonable answers. A big model trained on millions of those samples isn't necessarily copying the truth. It's averaging out the noise in it. So when the smaller model learns from the big one instead of the raw labels, it's not learning a worse copy of the truth. It's learning a cleaner one. Now think about a clean, smooth curve. Give a weak student model a bunch of noisy scattered points from that curve. It's too weak to see the real shape through all that static. But if you give the exact same weak students the smoothed out guesses of a strong teacher, the model that actually figured out the curve, the student gets measurably better. Nothing about the student changed. You just changed what it was looking at. But there's a catch. The teacher has to actually clean up the mess. If the teacher's own predictions are more erratic than the raw labels are noisy, if it's confidently wrong instead of confidently right, the student gets worse, not better. Which brings us back to those two identical models. Real self-distillation, where the teacher and student are the exact same size, still shows these gains. And that's not the noise story anymore. There's nothing left to average out between two identical models. Something else is going on. Here's what's happening. The first model got there but stumbled into it. Getting to the point was messy. When it teaches its twin, it's not handing out new facts. It's handing over the shortcuts, the straight line to the same answer, skipping every wrong turn it took to get there the first time. The twin doesn't end up smarter. It ends up steadier, less thrown off by small shifts in its own weight, small changes in the data it's never seen before. And that's it. That's the leading explanation, at least, not the final word. Scientists are still mapping out exactly how far it scales and why it works as well as it does. But it points at something worth remembering. What actually gets passed down isn't just the right answer. It's the ability to keep being right, even as the data shifts, even on cases training never covered.